Right, this is Roger Knocker from KPI Management Solutions. Today we're going to be talking about the case for performance maturity. This is an online assessment that you can do, and it will estimate what your performance maturity is in your business, and it will give you a score for your maturity. So many organizations come to us, they've got their processes and the ERP foundation in place, and they're looking for a performance management system, and we're never sure, are they asking for a performance management system that addresses financials, processes, projects, or people, or all of the above? And in many cases, and in most cases, it is actually all of these items that people are looking for to improve performance. In addition, some people and some organizations would like to go on the journey of strategic performance management. And what happens, what they often find, and we've seen this, is when the walls and the foundations are weak, that goes nowhere anyway, and they land up back at the drawing board. So what we've developed is a model to help you understand where you are in terms of your performance maturity and what your next step should be, so that you don't come crashing down, and that your next step is meaningful and it adds value to your organization. So the first level is level 1. It's a basic entry level level of maturity. Then we have level 2, which is repeatable. So these are repeatable processes. Then we have standardized maturity. This is where the organization is highly standardized. And this is really, level 3 is par. In other words, if you get up to level 3, you're running a good business. You don't have to go beyond this, and things will be working fine. However, if you want to go to the next level, which is level 4, it's typically when you want to be strategic, you want to grow your business, you might want to scale it, you might want to go into new markets, new territories, new products, and that's what we call level 4. And level 5 is predictive or optimized. This is the ultimate level. Some organizations can do it and it's cost effective, others can't ever get there, and it doesn't make sense to get there, but that level is available. So we've put the 4 pillars together: financial performance, process, projects, and people. And what we've done is we've built a model that articulates what the criteria would be at each level. So at a very basic level, you run a monthly profit and loss statement, or you perform annual financial budgeting, or you do manual Excel reporting. And these are criteria that we've set at level 1 in the first pillar of financial performance. But obviously, as we go to level 2, the criteria get harder and harder. And we also articulated the criteria for process, projects, and people. So for example, a very basic maturity item would be, have you got an up-to-date organogram? Or have you got HR-based job descriptions? So as I animate this, I'm not going to stop at each one of these criteria, but these criteria exist and they help us determine what level you're functioning at. Obviously, once you get past level 3, you can go to level 4 and then on to level 5. So how we do the assessment, actually before we talk about the assessment, at the end of the assessment you will get a performance maturity. It can be for your entire business or it can be for one department. In this case, you'll see that this organization, finance was very weak, processes were stronger, projects was a bit stronger, people was also strong. So what we would recommend to an organization like this is try and move your basic maturity in those pillars up to level 2, and then up to level 3 would be your next step, just for this one department. Obviously, it changes as you look at different departments. So the process that we follow is that we get you to answer an online survey, and the questions follow the maturity model. So we'll start with financial performance. You publish a monthly profit and loss statement. The answer will either be does not exist, partially exists, exists and practiced, fully optimized, or not applicable. So does not exist, you just don't have it in place. Partially exist, well, sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. Exists and practice, yes, you're running it, you routine with it, you discipline with it. And fully optimized really simply means that there's nothing more that you can do to optimize it. There are some questions, depending on who's answering the question, we would advise to click not applicable. It's just not, that question is not applicable for this department or this organization. So you complete that. That takes anywhere between 30 minutes and 45 minutes, depending on if you've got the answers, or if you have to think, or you have to discuss it with your colleagues. We then publish a draft report We ask the recipients to read it and adjust their answers, because sometimes they've overstated their score or understated, and that comes out when you read the report. We will provide you with a list of initiatives that will address the gaps. So we'll already start identifying gaps in this report, and we'll have a final report. It's a 30-page report, which I'll show you at the end of this what that looks like. So coming out of the assessment, we write you a 30-page report, and I'm actually going to show you the report just now. But first, I must say that what we do is we write a paragraph that explains where you're at and what your next step can be. If you fully optimize, we will say, well done, this is what it means, there's nothing more you can do. So the report will consist of recommendations like this, but it will also have a list of projects. Now, you can call them initiatives or projects. What we do is we've put them onto a scatter plot. On the y-axis, you have a score ranging from 0 to 100. The projects that are close to 100 means that they're easy. They're high priority projects. They're not difficult. The size of the bubble will indicate how much that project would cost. And on the x-axis, we show what the 5-year value would be. So in this organization, it's 28 million of value. There's roughly 4,000 internal hours of effort to be done, and there's 47 of these initiatives or projects. For each project, we've also, these are just really vanilla projects. We're not saying you have to do these projects, but these are ideas of how you can implement the recommendations. And we get the project name, we look at its complexity, criticality, time to implement, the payback period, will it disrupt your business, and how many hours of effort we estimate this type of project typically takes to implement within a business area. Obviously, if it's the whole business, it's going to take longer, but if it's one department, it will be much shorter. These projects range from 4 hours through to weeks, perhaps even months of work. So there's a good range of projects that we've identified for you. The value of initiatives, we've got a very simple calculation. If we estimate the project to cost $10,000 and the payback period is 1 year, then the 5-year value of this project is $40,000, which is really $10,000 times 5 years minus the 1 year it cost to put the project in. So that's how we come up with a proxy value of the initiatives. It's very high level. It might differ in your circumstance or in your organization. Regardless of the score that you get, the types of initiatives that we recommend at each level. Level 1, we talk about basic housekeeping, policies, low-hanging fruit. These are projects that you know you should have done yesterday. They haven't been done. We will highlight these back to you and say, get your basic housekeeping stuff in place. They're not very complex projects. Level 2, we start talking about implementing more processes, more basic systems, start measuring more than what you have in the past. Level 3, we start talking about standardizing as much as you can across branches, across departments, put templates, put systems, put documentation, automate more, increase the management training, and make sure your systems are collaborative so that people can collaborate across departments and boundaries. Level 4, you're going to see projects that are much more orientated towards planning or change management or just growth projects, strategically focused initiatives. And finally, at level 5, we would see projects and initiatives that deal with culture, innovations, and using your data to be more predictive. So at the end of the report, we give you a list of, like we said, a list of initiatives per category in those 4 pillars. We always work in those 4 pillars. And I'll show you that at the end of the presentation. Maturity over time. So you can take the maturity assessment now, but over time, maybe in 6 months, you want to take it again, and maybe in a year's time, you want to take it again. And what you should see is that there's an improvement in your maturity. Some organizations choose to do the maturity assessment across multiple departments. So they will get each department to do the assessment. And then what we can do is have a look at the maturity and make sure that all the pillars in all departments are at least at level 2. And we would start addressing those departments that need to move quicker than others. And then also look at how we can get everyone to level 3. Some of the initiatives or projects you do might be done in one area and it cuts across all the departments. So you can do one project and cover everybody in one go. If you had to issue a one-on-one policy or update the organogram or your job descriptions. That can be managed as one project, and you can do it right across the board. So when you're rolling out, say, to 10 departments, there could be 15 initiatives identified just for level 1 and 2 across 10 departments. That means we've got 150 initiatives on the go. At level 3, maybe 17, 10 departments, 170. So very quickly we could get up to hundreds of initiatives or thousands of individual tasks to be completed. And we recommend that you put a system in place, a project management system and some dashboards, so that you can track that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. This we can help you implement. We can monitor this for you as a paid for service, but we can give you that information and advise you with different sorts of templates and things to fast track those projects. In front of me I have an example of what the paid for report will look like. It's a 30-page report. It starts with a heading, and we say which company it's for, which department, who answered the questions, and on what date did they answer these questions. We've got a table of contents. We explain the performance maturity framework for you. So we articulate it in this report. We explain what the 5 levels mean, and we also explain what the 4 pillars mean. All right, once we've done that, we will give you your score. So this is probably about 60 to 70 questions. Will be rolled up into an average score. So you'll see for each pillar where you stand. In this case, finance is standardized, process is going into strategic, projects is standardized, approaching strategic, and people is strategic, going up into the predictable range. So this is a score for a business, and we will give you some commentary just to summarize what we see in front of us. And then we will also give you a list of projects. So here's 34 projects, 2,000 hours of effort, and 13.7 million of value, 5-year value. So that's an estimate of how much value is on the table here, and we profile these projects. The red ones mean that it's level 1, amber means level 2, green is level 3, blue is level 4, and black is level 5. And we explain that in this report as well, so that you can see how we profile the projects. And then we start with the finance pillar. As we said earlier, we'll give you some commentary telling you how you answered the question and what it means. And at the end of the finance section, we'll give you just the finance projects. These are only items where you said does not exist or partially exists. We only recommend initiatives or projects for those items. If it exists in practice or fully optimized or not applicable, we don't recommend any projects for those. So once finance is finished, then you'll go into process, and the style of the report will repeat itself. In process, we have a lot of content here for you to absorb. Again, we'll give you a portfolio of projects just for processes. Then we go into projects, so we'll repeat the process for projects, and then finally we'll repeat it for people. And right at the end, you will see a summary. We'll give you a final summary of what you should do next. And then thereafter, we've got 4 appendices with the projects profiled for you to show you more or less what it would look like to profile those projects. This is for process, for projects, and for people. And that's the end of the report. And that comes directly to yourself. You can take that report and implement these initiatives yourself if you have the skills in-house, or if you want to outsource to a third party. We don't mind. We can help in some situations. In others, we can't. Where to find more information? So you can go into our website, www.kpims for KPI Management Solutions.co.za/PMA, and that will take you to where the information is. It stands for Performance Maturity Assessment, or you can go directly to our contacts page as you see below. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to find out more, you can click on the button below, and that will take you to our website, and you can get some more information there as well. Thanks.